1, 2, 3 test. Good evening and welcome to the Amateur TV Net, which is held every Tuesday night at 8 PM through VK3RTV. I'm Neil, VK3BCU. Stations that have checked in that are watching this evening are Steve, VK3TTF, Rob, VK3IE, Fred, VK3ZAQ, Chris, VK3AML, and Dennis, VK3WV. You can watch the net ideally through VK3RTV with a set-top box and an antenna, vertical 400 meg antenna, so that's great if you can do that. If you can't, for many reasons, you can watch Richard VK3VRS's YouTube feed, as Ian unfortunately is not available this evening, so please, there is a link or a pointer towards Richard's YouTube feed this evening, and I believe he's also running Discord. Also Rob VK3IE, I think he's running his BATC stream as well. Right, from last week's presentation from Peter using a Gully 74, I've now got the kit and I'll be building it up very, very shortly. So that's thanks to Peter alerting us to that little module. Also, what arrived today was my All-Star, Shari All-Star unit. So I've got that actually running. It's actually, it's on the network, but it isn't quite finished yet, so no one can access it. So something just to do. Not that I'm particularly interested in All-Star, although we may be able to use it as a method of using a back channel on the net. Might be very, very useful. So first up this evening will be Peter. I can see Peter's ready to go. So Peter, if you want to take it and put it across to Richard VK3VRS, and then Richard straight back to me. So everyone switch across to RTV1 right now and tune in for Peter. Take it away, Peter.
Thanks, Neil, and good evening to everyone. I'm Peter, VK3BFG, in One Turner South. Well, a fair bit of the week has been spent negotiating the intricacies of Portsdown and OBS, and after a bit of heartache, we finally got it running quite okay. Once you've done it once, I guess it's not all that hard, but you just need to go through the process and find out all the little tricks. You need a piece of software called a Freestream Coder. You've also got to download an OBS virtual camera and activate that, and put a whole lot of settings in the Freestream Coder and run that, and that will then port the OBS video into the Portsdown directly via the network, which is what Bob, VK3BVR, is doing, and also I think Richard, VK3VRS, is doing. And Bob was very, very helpful in getting me going. Also Dennis, 3YLH, gave me a little bit of assistance as well, and a little bit of serendipity by myself, just playing around. So we have got that going, and the Eastern and Boughton Districts Radio Club has decided to go that way for their high definition transition, and they have a very good network there. They've got a high def system with an ATEM Mini, and that runs, and they're running OBS as well. So, and they've got a network. So all of the elements are there to make the transition. I'll have to do a bit of surgery on the transmitter, particularly with a delay against the Line Mini spike that occurs as the Line Mini boots up. And we'll install the Line Mini in the transmitter itself, where the SR Systems boards were, and I'll have to pull out a whole lot of the audio stuff that's there and do some other surgery on it. The SR Systems boards may be available. I'm not sure. It'll be up to the Eastern and Boughton Districts Radio Club to decide. If they decide to sell them, I guess the members would have the first option on those. There's also the Blackmagic streaming bridge there that is in use, or was in use, but we don't. That one's also redundant now, so that would be fairly saleable, I would think, but it may be available. Anyway, if it is, I'll let everyone know, and they can make their bids to the Eastern and Boughton Districts Radio Club as may be appropriate. So that was pretty much my week in terms of ATV. I did do a little bit of a mod to the USB power modules I showed you, I think, last week. So I'll just show you what I've done there with those. So just stand by, we'll get the camera across and down to where we can see them. Oh, that's of course just the module. Where's the camera? There's the camera. And now we've got them in a little case with a much easier connector to get onto the power. And so we've got 4 USB ports there. We'll put the second one in also in a little jiffy box, and that makes a very handy little USB supply. Of course, you've got to run it off whatever volts you need, really, because it's a very flexible input requirement, but could be quite handy. So that's it for me tonight. fairly short, but just a report on the progress to the Eastern Amadis Radio Club, and we'll be looking forward to getting them back on air, especially with high definition. That will be good. And we'll be running DVB-S2, which will be the best option for them. That's for sure. With the path not exactly line of sight there. So Richard, VK3VRS, if you're running now, I'm running DVB-S2, so we should be a fairly smooth changeover. So VK3VRS to take it. This was VK3BFG.
Smooth as silk. There we go. Very good, Peter. I did hear little bits and pieces of you playing, but I was busy at the time and I couldn't sort of help. There are other methods, by the way, of getting it from OBS into the Freestream coder. You don't need the virtual cam plugin. You can get it with a thing called VB script, a VB wire. Yeah. Anyway, there is another method of doing it. So yes, I've done it both ways. Yeah, I'm currently using vMix, but I do use OBS from time to time as well. The streaming onto YouTube and to Discord is done via OBS because it handles it quite well, and that's on a separate computer, so it doesn't interfere with this one. So yeah, and with the little spike, there's a pin on the Raspberry Pi that you can use for sequencing. It's in the docs on BAT website. I'll try and find it for you and send it to you, so you can actually just go off that. There's two methods. You can sequence it if you like, or you can manually switch like I do. I still don't trust anything, so I just flick over and I've got an actual power switch, so I prefer that method. The other way that you can do it is with a little relay board, and switch the relay board across, with an Arduino or something. So there's a few different methods of doing it. Anyway, tonight I've got a couple of things. First up, over the weekend I was a little bit busy. I'm sort of running a bit half-mast at the moment. I'm just going to go over to Shaky Cam and I'll show you what I mean. Audio, yep, right now. So, make sure I've only got one lot of audio. Yep, I have. Yeah, my shack looks a lot like that at the moment. A little bit different. So the TV side of things is working, no problems, but the audio side is a little bit pulled apart, and yeah, there's sort of radios and everything under there. What I was doing over the weekend, sorry about Shaky Cam, but I installed these. I've actually running 2 power supplies now because yeah, got a few more radios, so I split them up and put these power poles in. So I've actually gone and bit the bullet, and I've gone with the Anderson, as you can see. So all my leads now are Anderson. So you can see that's what I'm doing there. There's bits and pieces everywhere under here. Oh look, there's my normal control. So I'm flying without my controls at the moment, but yeah, that's my desk at the moment. It's a real work in progress. Oh look, my baby, my 905, it's over there. So unfortunately I was unable to be in the Mad Day over the weekend. Yeah, I was busy pulling apart. Oh, and I'll show you the reason why. You notice, this was the old cable that ran to my grid pack. This is the new one. There's a little bit of difference there. So I'm running a whole lot of cables, and you might see from the front there I've got grids. So the intention is to put in there'll be a 1.2, a 2.4 and a 3.4. That'll be RTV, and that one I'm not sure yet, and that's the X7000 down there, which you can see. So that's your normal, which is for this radio. And at the moment, you can see I've got Dennis wanted to talk on 23 centimetres to check his antenna. I went, yeah, okay, give me a second. And I had to put that together. My liaison frequencies are now going to be operated from here. So I dug those two out of the mothballs, and they still worked, so that was good. So actually, they were the two radios that I had when I started. Full recircle all the way back. So yeah, so that's of course, is anyone's shack ever actually finished? I don't think so. So anyway, so that's what I've been doing radio wise. Yeah, ATV wise, haven't done anything except for run coax to the grid pack, and now I can run even less gain out of the line and get in. I've basically got rid of all the joins except for the join here and one join at where the grid pack antenna actually plugs in to the end of the hard line. So yeah, good stuff. Has caused a problem though. As you can see, I can't quite get it back on the wall properly. So I'm going to have to work out what I'm going to do there. So tonight I've decided to recycle a video, and the reason being is I ran this video a while ago, and yep, Steve NF is actually watching. So VK3 NF, this is your video. Last time I didn't do it justice because I sort of let it run and I murmured with very, very low volume and didn't explain anything. I didn't read your notes at the time. Typical fashion, I was rush. So tonight I'm going to run it and I'm going to read out some of the notes as we go. I've had a run through it and had a look at all the notes, so I'm hopefully I'm all up to date and I do it justice for you, Steve. Yeah, because it's a fantastic property. All right, I suppose I'll flick that over. Now I've got to remember how to do this manually now. It's been so long. I've usually used my other controller. So it'll be that one and live TV. Oh, and I haven't made a big song and dance about it, but some people have noticed behind me here. Yeah, I've upgraded my license, so I'm no longer restricted. So yeah, that was a while ago. So thank you very much, Peter, for that, insisting me in getting me up, my skills up to the standard and being able to pass my advanced. So thank you. Recommend it to anybody. Go ahead, book in and get your license. All right, I've worked out how to do this now, so let's run this video. It goes for 7 minutes. So is that okay, Neil, or am I restricted on time? I don't think I am, because I think we're pretty good. All right, let me run it. Now, this is Steve's place. So it's taken 14 years to build it. It's in central Victoria, a place called Redcastle. So the first thing that we're going to see here is an NBN dish and a weather station. So very important to know the weather, of course. Most of us amateurs are always looking at weather for one reason or another, whether it's scatter or skip or anything. So you can see it's a lovely bush property. We're about an hour and a half north of Melbourne. So this footage is all taken by a DJI Mini 3. So very good quality footage. So now we're moving across and we're going to have a look at the main tower, tower number 1. Now on this tower, as we climb up, you'll see that we've got a 120 metre side dipole with 450 ohm feed line. It covers all the HF bands. We also see 12 metre to 40 metre tracked Yagi there, so you can see that there, and a TH3. So that's all on that station. You can see in the background there as well, there's a Hills mast with a dual band Yagi. No, not a Yagi, just a dual band, 270, and a Bushcom BBA 100CE to the left of it. So you can just see that in the background there as we're looking through the HF stuff. It's probably why I'm not into HF. I don't have enough real estate. I don't have a lovely big block like this to mount all that metal in the air. You can just see the shack in the background as well, but we'll focus on the antennas for now. So Steve enjoys skip and talking all around, and it's very, very quiet, obviously. HF quiet, so RF noise is very, very low. So when we go across to the second tower, which we're going to make our way there shortly, we just Steve's expert piloting skills with his drone, getting a good look at those solar panels, but you can see the HF or complicated wires everywhere. But look at that, plenty of room to have a look, and as far as you can see, it's clear as. So we're going a bit higher, and you just still for the eye can see trees, 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 solidarity. So it's a lovely view. It's a pity you can't just have your drone up there and look at the view all the time. And as you can see, it's a 360-degree rotation all the way around for his lovely property. So we're over halfway through the video, so we've got a little bit more to see. So just to let you know, over the 14 years he's added off-grid solar and batteries. There's 30,000 litre water tanks, sheds containing kitchen, shower, etc., and a drop toilet. So it's pretty fancy bush camping, really. There's a great view of being able to see the antennas and straight down onto I'll say the property, because it's got quite a few sheds and places to stay. Very utilised well, and Steve enjoys going up there as frequently as possible. You can see we're coming in now through the trees. It's pretty good flying, actually, considering the amount of foliage. It's very hard to see when you're trying to look at a screen in daylight and trying to avoid all those trees. So I'm not sure whether Steve was flying it by eyesight, or whether he was actually flying it looking at his monitor while he was flying. So just so you know, we've got quite a few people watching. We've got 16 viewers on YouTube, and we've got 1, 2, 3 on Discord. I'm not sure how many Rob's got, so sorry, Rob. I haven't logged on to BATC because I flicked over to start looking for the little bit for Peter, but he finished his segment faster than I could find it. So yeah, it's a beautiful property. I'll have to hopefully one day get an invite up there, Steve, and come up and have a look in person. Maybe you can teach me some HF, you know, how HF works. Well, not how it works, but how you do your HF. Yeah, I still consider 6 metres as HF, and I know it's not, but to me it is, because it's a very low frequency of big antennas. So, in saying that, I do have a long wire and an inverted V, so I can listen in. And I did actually check into Clint's broadcast last Friday night for the very first time. I think I actually checked in. So yeah, so here we go. We're coming back to land. You can see he's got all the toys to play to maintain his property. You can see smoke coming out of the chimney there, so he's obviously got a lovely fire going. Tractor, plenty of firewood. Yeah, it's, to me, you know, that's pretty much paradise, which is what he's got there. Absolute paradise. And you can see neighbours quite a way away, so noise is not a problem. And there's another look at that second tower. So a fair bit on there. So plenty of antennas, so you can activate lots and lots of bands. Obviously not idyllic for microwave, but not too far away from the hills to be able to go and play microwave if you wanted to, Steve. Might be a bit hard to get into ATV. I might have to put you on through me, and I can rebroadcast it. So Steve will come in for his lovely landing now. We'll have a look around. You can see beautiful view. This is completely unedited, by the way, everybody. You might notice too, you've got QR codes there for Discord and for Facebook. Please sign up and join. And here we go, landed.
For live news on the planets, cosmology, sunspots and more, every Friday at 10 p.m. Clint VK3 CSJ presents the Astronomical Society of Victoria broadcast on this amateur television repeater, VK3 RTV Channel 1.
And we're back. So, anyway, I hope everyone enjoyed that. And hopefully I'll get my shack put back together properly. And I'm very red today. I don't know why it's done that, but anyway, it's all good. All right, I believe there's no Clint on after me, so I believe I'm handing it back to Neil. So I will go to my test pattern, and then everyone can flick over back to RTV2. Those who are watching via my streams, I'll do that for you with this lovely remote. All right, thanks everyone, and see you next.
Okay, TV's got a slight hiccup at the moment, not to worry. No, I hadn't seen that. Was really good, certainly heaven as far as amateur radio goes. One thing Peter didn't mention, he's been playing a lot of 447 narrowband during the week, and I actually managed to see him. So that's a screenshot of me viewing Peter on 447 S, and you can do that using a Raspberry Pi, which a lot of stations already have, and that was received on a mini tuner, which you can get the kit from the BATC. Now that can be made full screen, so you're not stuck with that presentation. You can click the mouse and you can make it full screen, just like a normal signal. So I do encourage people to have a look at the 447 narrowband, and it's a long way for Peter to send that signal to me, certainly through a lot of terrain. So that was good. Okay then, so if you're ready, John, John 3ATV, if you want to take it, I'm on T, so hopefully it might be a fairly smooth changeover. And then, John, if you could put it across to Peter VK3 TLF, who's on RTV1. And Peter, if you could put it back to me, please. So everyone get ready to see John's segment. Take it away, John.
Good evening, everyone. John VK3 ATV in Williamstown. The transition wasn't as smooth as we'd hoped, but we made it. I haven't been doing a lot of on radio this week, so I haven't got a lot to show tonight. Been doing a bit on cars and also moving my daughter out, so she's moving this week, so the house is currently full of boxes all packed ready to go. Just a couple of things. Richard, congratulations on upgrading your licence. I meant to say that last week. I saw the note you had up there. Well done. That's a great effort. And now, as you said, you're unrestricted, other than sticking to the regulations, of course. Another point, Richard, love that video. That is be a great place to have as a facility, and probably be there as many weekends as you could. That's great. When you put your antenna connector panel back, it's usually a good idea to earth it. So I didn't see an earth wire there, but it might be a good idea to do that while you've got it off the wall, particularly if you're running lightning arresters. So look, all I've got tonight is I was talking to John, who was JCO, but I think he's changed his call sign and I can't remember what it is now. That he went to the grand opening of the National Communications Museum in Melbourne on the weekend. So I just thought I'd give everyone, I'm not just information to let you know that it's there. I will at some point go and have a look. I think it's mainly concentrating on telecoms equipment rather than radio comms, but it would probably be interesting to go and have a look at. John said it probably wasn't such a great idea going on the opening weekend. It was a bit crowded and a bit disorganised in terms of entry. But I've just got a quick slide here. Just to show you, if you want more information, go to that NCM, National Communications Museum.org.au. It's open Wednesdays to Sundays, and it's in Hawthorn, so it might be just worth having a look at. It's a fairly modern orientated museum, I understand. So it's not full of shelves of old radios or things like that. That's still left to people like Dennis, who hopefully will come back on one day and give us more tours of his old equipment. But yeah, just for information for people, there's a communications museum, or really telecoms museum, in Melbourne. So that's all I've got for tonight. So I will hand it over to Peter, VK3TLF, who will be on RTV1. He's not up yet. He can probably come up whenever you're ready, Peter. I'll run my thanks for watching, and then everyone can turn over to RTV1, or thankfully there are some guys like Richard who will automatically switch the streamers for people. So that's it from me. Good night. This is John, VK3ATV in Williamstown. Thanks again, everyone, for watching.
Peter isn't ready, so we'll press on regardless. So we may have to leave you till next week, Peter, because I'll be finishing up the net very, very shortly. In fact, I'm going to put it across to Joe VK3TET. He's got a very long segment for us, and I was going to leave him for the end of the the net this evening. So, Joe, if you're ready to go with your 30-minute segment, and then Peter, if you want to come on after that, you're quite welcome to. So, Joe, if you're ready to go, please stand by for Joe VK3 TET. He's going to come up on RTV2, and then when Joe's finished, Peter, if he's ready, will be coming up on RTV1. So I won't be coming back this evening. This will be the end of my session. So stand by for Joe VK3 TET and then Peter VK3 TLF. We'll see you all next week. Take it away, Joe.
Well, to Steve Hannell's site. To various things relating to the Hermes. Right, best thing, the AD9866 is the magic chip that makes this whole thing work. For quite a few years it wasn't available, and now it is. Quick scan for all the circuit diagrams, just to sort of give you an idea of how complex this whole thing is. Relatively simple design, but lots of intricate small components. Steve Hannell is a real brainy guy. He put it all together quite a few years ago, and he still is active on the forums. Talking about forums, Google, groups, basically Hermes Lite. This is the link. You can work it out. Very, very active. Just about every question and every answer you'll find on that forum. The software is maintained by a guy called Reed Campbell. He is actually developing it very, very tightly. He's only one version behind the official RANMore, which is the sort of Apache Labs main source that is being used by them. Richie, that's his repository, the RANDOR. The current version is 10.3.6, and Reed's got a 10.3.5 that he released a few weeks ago. So he basically updates it all the time. Apache Labs has a forum as well. Some time ago when I went into this rabbit hole, quite a long time back, I think it was October 2022, I was quite active, and I got really involved, and including sort of developing some of the meters when Richie first released it. When I say developing, I just compiled it just to test it out. What the community thinks of the radio, have a look.
So what radio are you playing around with these days, Rick?
Frank, I have the herpes light complex syndrome too.
Oh, nice. How do you like it?
I love it, man. It's a killer rig for $500.
Yeah, for the money, it's you can't beat it.
Now I'm running it with a one of the Australian VK amps. You know, it's set up for low drive, so 2.5, 3 watts, 3.5 watts in, KW a little more out.
It's pretty good, yeah. A lot of bang for your buck on that radio, man. You know, I mean, you kind of can't beat it. I think, honestly, for the value, it beats anything that's out there. Honestly, I'd say it beats some of the more expensive radios out there.
Oh, it does. I mean, there's... You got pure signal, you got everything that you got in Thetis works on it, with the exception of diversity, because it's a single ADAC and you don't have 6 meters. There's a few things that are lacking from it, but I mean, for $500, you really don't got much to complain about, and it certainly will put radios that are $1,800, $2,000, $2,500 to shame.
By the way, Rick gets it wrong. It's $400 US, and that includes the I/O board.
Yeah, obviously doesn't have all the filtering and everything else. But I mean, again, for $500, you cannot beat that.
Yeah, I mean, it's got the filtering on transmit and receive with the filter board add-on, and it, you know, that's $52. But like I said, the only thing you're really missing is the diversity, and you know, having 2 8-acts. It is only, like I said, a single and 6 meters. But those 3 things are really its only downfall.
What's the bandwidth on the pan adapter?
Well, that's okay. So that's one other thing. It'll go to 38,400 on the pan adapter view, but the and I know the Anons will go to like, I don't know, 3 or 4 times that. The problem with that is you can only run pure signal at 1900 or less. So, you know, you lose a little bit of the viewable bandwidth, but I mean, again, for the price, who cares?
Yeah, I agree. You can't, it's not a comparison, obviously. I mean, from a price perspective, you know, you get a lot. Yeah, good. A lot of guys having success with it, man. It's gaining popularity like crazy. Almost everyone you talk to is on one.
Yeah, no, I keep telling people when I get on the air and, you know, and I talk about my herpes that I'm going to have to start wearing a condom on the air.
Well, if you want to know where to get it, very simple. Go to Google, type in Hermes Light 2. And you will see first link will be Maker Fabs. That's the company that makes them. They are actually a fabricator. Steve Hanwell, he basically is the designer, and he went to these guys ages ago. He chose them because obviously they were the best ones at the time and are still manufacturing it. There's really 3 modules that you need to get. You need to get the main board, 269 at the moment, and you need to get an I/O board, well, a filters board I should say, and the enclosure. That's the minimum. But if you're going to order it, might as well get the I/O board. When I bought mine, it wasn't available. It was quite a few years ago, and definitely worth getting for another $50. Very, very intricate board. It'll help you a lot. Right now, even if I had it, I probably wouldn't be using it because I don't have anything to interface it with. But definitely get it. So stick it in the cart. For those of you that don't have any means of payment, and you know who I'm talking about, go to the post office. Now, they probably will rip you off, so there's various resources on the internet, and find as one of them. It will give you alternatives for prepaid credit cards. So choose wisely, get one that is in your favor. Now, some insights on its operation.
On the Hermes Light 2. Today we're going to talk about the multi-tracking notch filters, which I happen to love. Love it on the Flex, love it on the Anon, and now we got it on the Hermes Light.
I must admit, this is one of my favorites.
Mess around with it a little bit. I want you to hear what I do. I like to just put them on the side, kind of brick wall the edges a little bit for noise, and then give you a little visualization also with this stuff, which is pretty cool. Check this out. All right, let's get some volume. We're at 80 meters. It's always noisy here. See that?
It just shows you how flexible this whole thing is.
Tracking filter, and we're going to widen it out.
It's keeping me busy with a lot of
probably let's go like really wide, like right there. You hear that? All right, now I'm going to move it over. I'm going to paste it right over this nose on the side here.
Wednesday.
Right there. So I'm going to put one there. Then I'm going to add one more for the other side.
And I know lunch with him.
And boom. Check this out.
Catch up on them and everything. But,
wow. Isn't that nice?
It's just all kinds of stuff
it's
going
like
on.
Parting the Red Sea.
So,
let's give you a little visualization of what's going on here.
It keeps me going.
See?
And flick the tape. Lieutenant Kent.
I absolutely love this.
Stuff, so I'm going to have to start making some more stuff.
Pretty unique for a radio that's under $400, huh? So I thought I'd share this with you. I mean, this is definitely This is definitely phenomenal. I mean, this is great. I love the multi-tracking notch filters. They are phenomenal. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Now you don't need to run Beaters. You can run another alternative software.
Don't have much, but it's good enough.
This will actually work on a Raspberry Pi.
You got your
It's
display,
actually
band
Pi
stack, screen.
HP SDR, and it is great. It works very well, and it actually has pure signal. As you can see, I just froze this frame. You can see that it's locking in. This is my system, just firing it up just to give you a scratch on what it can do. This is the sort of main system where you can actually go and set up all the different menus and configurations. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go through all the little menus here just to help you guys if you ever get a system and set it up. I'm going to put it on double speed so you can actually freeze it later on and pick all the settings if necessary. Anyway, it's a full function software, exactly the same as Apache's Lab. And you can go through all the various menus, configure everything. I'm going really quick here, but you can obviously pause it and have a look at all the different menus. There's quite a lot of settings, and I haven't been using the system for quite a long time, almost a year, and this rabbit hole expired for me quite a long time back, but just recently somebody asked me to sort of help them get a system up and running, so I decided to do this rather lengthy video just to sort of get back into it, but it necessitated me to reacquaint myself with it, so I spent a whole day playing around with it. The meters is really neat, and I haven't really covered, but I'm just going to quickly show you how easy it is to set up. There's all sorts of different things. You've got magic eyes. It's fantastic. You know, you think it's a gimmick and but it's not. It's very, very useful, and you can deploy these meters not necessarily within this main screen or the menu or the system. What do you call it? Interface. You can actually deploy it outside that, so you can actually have remote windows within your laptop or PC or whatever.
Tango Echo Tango CQ VK3 TET CQ40. This is Victor Kilo 3 Tango Echo Tango CQ40. This is Victor Kilo 3 Tango Echo Tango CQ VK3 TET.
I was trying to demonstrate the pure signal. I'm going to go through various steps. One of the important things is that you can put up a two-tone, and if you have a look at the level at the moment, there's pure signals off, and one of the harmonics is 64 dBm, 64.1, 64.2. When you switch on pure signal, it'll drop at another 10 to 15 dB. You can do the maths, but that's basically it. It suppresses it. The signal is there's less intermods, and it's fantastic. So that's with off, it goes back up. When you switch it on, it goes down. It's very evident when you actually have the two-tone. The problem is that we're not using much power here. As a matter of fact, I'm probably using a few milliwatts, and it's not going for an amplifier, so it's pretty linear anyway. So it's not going to make any difference. It makes a slight difference, and I'm trying to demonstrate it here, but at the moment what I realized is that my threshold for my waterfall is not in that range. In other words, I'm not capturing the region where it'll display the distortion when pure signal is not on. So it is so minor, that's why you can't really see it. But I will adjust that later on, and you'll probably be able to see it. But right now you can see that it's tracking, it's locked, and it's basically you know, producing a really clean signal. But there's very little drive. It's not really going for an amplifier, and the actual system itself is very linear already, so it's very hard to see it. Now, there's a lot to take in. It's a relatively ancient interface, but it works well. I'm personally not too bothered. I'm more bothered about functionality rather than the looks of it. But there is quite a lot of skins.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. So this is with pure signal on. Now let's have a look at the CSC. Let's have a look at this. If we turn this off, right, what does it sound like now? A little bit different, obviously. And let's get rid of the equalizer as well. Now, this may sound really nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But you probably noticed that the drive level is quite low. Not so much power in the voice, and if you look at the spectrum as well. So for a QRP radio, it hasn't got that punch. But if we actually increase the levels here, for argument's sake, we put the equalizer on, and let's have a look here. We got that should give it a little bit more drive. Now let's switch on the transmit equalizer. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now if we have
the energy's gone back up, as you can see.
We can see much more fullness in the spectrum here. Now let's switch off the pure signal. I'm trying to get it distorted, but it's not really distorting anyway because it's pretty good.
Not much difference with pure signal on and off because it's pretty pure already.
If we actually go a little bit up here, you can actually see the skirts. If we put the pure signal on, it should lower those skirts. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pretty hard to see anyway. But the main thing is that if we switch off this monitor and let's put the 2 times.
Again, you can see the what I've done. I've cranked up the power now. Well, it's 1 watt at the moment, so the intermod is quite low anyway. It's 64, and with pure signal it's even lower. Like I think it's 74, 75, 76, something like that. So it's pretty good. Now I've adjusted the thresholds, and you can actually see on the right there's a lot of bluish outside the band, and now with pure signal on, it's gone. Okay. Again, you can't really see it in the skirts, but some of the energy is spilling over, and in the waterfall you can actually see that blue. Like now I switched it off, you can see more blue on the right. And when you switch it back on, it gets rid of it. Now, it's quite emphasized here, but if you're running a kilowatt amplifier or something, it does wonders. Again, with about 5 watts, you can see it's 57 dBm, and with pure signal it drops to 68. So it's like 12, 13 dBm. Not bad. And that's for a clean signal. Now, the noise floor, this rig is not connected to any antenna. It's in a dummy load. The noise floor is minus 150, 55, 57. Sorry, 55.7. Very low noise floor. And you've got a gain control where you can actually adjust it. And I just swung it low and high. So you've got automatic gain, or you can manually swing it. Now what I've done, I'm going to actually fire up a 5K wideband, just to show you how easy it is to do it. Essentially, you just flick a couple of buttons and there we go, you're 5K wide. Again, just tuning it up for that with the two-tone, so it's locked in. And here we go. That's our way of having a look at amp view, but basically this is the way where you can actually monitor what's going on with the pre-distortion. So on the left you've got amp view, where it actually shows you the compensation. Basically you've got a straight line and you've got one line above it, red, and the blue jaggedy line below it, and the idea is that it's actually cancelling those two out to give you a linear straight line. Now both my lines are pretty flat because there isn't much distortion. You could see it how it's locking in. I'm sort of trying to trigger it and by altering things and playing some audio, but essentially it's just sort of shimmering and locking itself in, but there isn't much correction that it needs to do. But it just gives you an idea how this whole thing works. It's brilliant. Yeah, usually, obviously with sideband, you need to have a signal there for the amplifier to be stressed out. There is no amplifier connected to it, even though I do have an amplifier on my rig, but it is not powered up. I'm just literally just running at QRP. Again, just modulating something there so you can actually see how it's actually correcting itself. Pretty flat. You got those two lines. One is pre-distorted and to give you a straight line. Okay, one person at least that is watching this is very interested in AM. Yes, it does AM very, very easy. I've set it for 10K, but you can go wider, and it does 160 meters as well. I was going to do a 160 demo, but I forgot to change the band. So at the moment we're running it on 40 meters, which is something that you probably wouldn't do, but since it's going into a dummy load, it's okay. But yeah, here we go. AM, nice modulation, and it's very, very nice and flat. Nice skirts on this one. Okay, what happens when you get your box? What do you get? Well, nicely packaged, very well packaged. Not the sort of AliExpress stuff. Proper packaging with labels. So in my case, I got 3 boxes because I ordered 3 things. The case, obviously, that's pretty good actually. It's got the 2 cover plates, it's got the screws and the aluminium extrusions. It is a simple design, it's a classic design, you know, a lot of stuff is built that way, but it's pretty good, and it works quite well. It's very compact. The case is essentially a heatsink for the FET. You will have to drill a hole that lines up with the printed circuit board that slides in, and it slides in quite low, so essentially when the shim is put in there, and you'll see the shim later on, you've got to slide it in, and you've got to also get some sandpaper and rub the surface of the case on the inner surface to make sure that there's metal to metal contact. It's pretty simple, it's in the instructions, you know, no big thing. Now, there's quite a few extra bits that I put in the box. It doesn't come with it, and those are the heat sinks. The heat sinks don't come with the kit, so that's all separate. I got these heat sinks because they're bigger and they fit the chips better. The ones, I'm not sure actually, I think the one in a little plastic bag actually comes with it, but the ones that are not in the bag don't. Now the board, well made. It's really a very nice little board. As you can see, there's not much in it. There's an FPGA, a Cyclone 4. I don't know if they're still available. They're pretty hard to get up. I think they're end of life as well, but they are still available. And the magic chip above it, which is the cable modem chip, that is a very, very clever part, and it does everything. It's got the A to D in there. It's a 12-bit A to D, and it's got all attenuators, everything. It is a perfect chip. It's not supposed to be used for this, but the functionality in a cable modem does just about everything for the front end. So Steve was very clever to deploy it using that. That's why it's a very low cost and very easy to make system using that cable modem chip, and that's the chip that wasn't available for quite a while. That's the little shim. The shim actually fits underneath that hole there next to the FET, and it acts as a heat sink. It goes between the board and the case to make sure that there's heat transfer. That little heat sink there that in the packet, I think that comes with it actually, but I got bigger ones that fit the board better, and that works quite well. And I'm using a relatively big heat sink, which is bigger than the A to D, the cable modem chip, but it sits above it. That's the one that when I just put it, the big one. It sits above it and it clears all the components. So it's just better because there's just more thermal dissipation from it. This is the actual board for the bandpass filters. So this is the actual filters board. It hasn't got 6 meters. Hermes Light doesn't support 6 meters. I think the main board probably will work with 6 meters. There's nothing wrong with the software or anything, or even the processing on the board. I think it doesn't work on 6 meters because when this filters board was designed, they never did a 6 meter bit on it. Probably ran out of space, and they figured, not many people use 6 meters, so we won't put it on. But that doesn't stop you if you want to fiddle yourself and create another interface. You've got the schematic there and everything, and there's nothing stopping you creating a 6 meter filter. Okay, this is my Hermes Light, the one that I actually put together. Now, a couple of extra bits. I've got a big dummy load that I bought ages ago, and I think the seller on AliExpress didn't know what they were selling. I actually got that 200 watt dummy load for about $60 delivered. I couldn't believe it. And after I got it, I realized how good it was, and I wanted to get another one. Price went up by over $100. Anyway, I've got it tethered to the heatsink, not heatsink, the dummy load. I didn't really want to disconnect it right now, but essentially I've got my Hermes, I've got an amplifier sitting on top of it, I've got the sampler, and I've got a little antenna, power meter, SWR meter, etc., just to sort of make sure that I'm connecting to the antenna correctly, and it's reporting the right loading and SWR. So that's my little box of tricks. That's all you need to be up and running. Obviously the actual VK amps, they actually make a sampler. Highly recommended. Very, very well made. It's about $150, but definitely worth it. You're not going to make anything like that for less money. So definitely you need one of those if you're going to be running an amplifier. If you're not running an amplifier, and you're just going to be using it for QRP, you don't need it. For 5 watts, it will actually sample directly from the main board, so you don't need that feedback. But I've put it into the circuit anyway because I am using an amplifier. I didn't power it on for this demo. So that's basically it. Pretty small. On the front panel, you've got an Ethernet port that goes to your computer, and you've got a 12 volt plug. Just a generic little power supply will do. That's the actual sampler, really well made, and it uses a logarithmic IC on it, so it is very, very good. It'll handle 2 kilowatts. And that's the amplifier. AliExpress, I think it's about the same price when I bought it. It's probably not bad. It'll give you about 40 watts. It's not linear at about 40-45. It's best to run it at about 30-35. You get a really good response. So that's basically it. There's not much in it, and that's the system. So I hope you like this video. It's quite long, and I hope it is useful for those guys who persevered and watched it to the end. Hope you enjoy it. Take care and all the best.
That's a good presentation. Very interesting device. VK3TLF. Peter. It's joining you again tonight. Hello everybody. Hello to those people who are still around. Sorry, I had some issues myself tonight. VMix decided to expire my key tonight right at the last minute. It's like fantastic. Had to happen today. But here we are. Managed to sort it out. I was just going to do a short presentation on the progress I made with the Lucent amplifiers for those still watching. I did manage to get a MOSFET transistor working in it, so I'll just move on to the presentation. That gives me the right image. Alright, so this was the amplifier that was on the... Sorry, I'll just mute something else in the background. That's distracting. There we go. So yeah, so this was the amplifier before we put the MOSFET in with the original bias circuit. I mainly wanted to show this picture to show the original bias circuit on the amplifier before I started hacking out modifying. This is the original one. I actually did put a another NPN transistor in and got that working with a different bias circuit. And this was the original bias circuit. Once that picture comes up. Now the output of the the voltage follower transistor in this case was 0.6 volts. Now with the MOSFET, the actual transistor I put into is an XRF 286C. You want the C version because it has the right connections, but I'll show you in the image in a minute. So this only had 0.6 volts output to the NPN transistor, which is the original transistor, the 260 I think it was from memory. So with the NPN you only need 0.6 volts on the bias, where the MOSFET you actually need 4.4 volts. So it needs some pretty dramatic changes to the bias circuit. Now, excuse my clunkiness tonight because I found out that I bought on Instant Quad and it only lets me queue up 3 images. It's like, thanks a lot. But oh well, it's all a learning curve, isn't it? Alright, so, sorry, I'm just going to have to close an image out before I can add this one in. The joys of technology and licensing. Alright, now it's going to give it to me. Should have probably rotated that round, but there it is if you can turn your heads around and see that one. Might just rotate it for you. Hang on, just bear with me a second. So on this bias circuit, pretty significant modifications. The main thing with this is I've modified the circuit so that the voltage on the gate, and the so the trim pots are different, the resistance is different coming from the transistor and so forth. And even the resistor chain down the bias circuit is all completely different. So there is a small resistor on the to remove as well. So to make, otherwise the bias circuit wouldn't go above about 2 volts or something like that. But if people are interested, I'll follow up with some more details. So, but that's the basic rundown on the circuit. Now, if I just cross you over to another image. Now, I based the bias circuit design on one from the W6PQL amplifier design, because they have an actual amplifier based on this transistor. So I modified the bias circuit based on this design. So you'll see here that a lot of these resistors are very, this structure on the left-hand side is very similar to what I used in this, but the values I found in my instance were slightly different. So they've got the bias voltage there coming in at 5 volts as well, so that's basically the same. It's what you get out of the LM317 anyway. Into this circuit on the standard output from that LM317 on the original design. So I've tried to leverage as much on the design that was originally there, but yeah, it did require a pretty major modification of the circuit. Now, if I go to an actual picture of the amplifier for you. So here's one of the pictures of the modified amplifier at the other end. You can see that there's some pretty major mods to the bias circuit. I've just put everything in just to see if this thing would actually work. On the input and the output, I've put replaced the inductors with trimmer capacitors because that's what was on the W6PQL design. So I've pretty much followed that design and the approximate values. I know that the strip lines are very likely not going to be the same impedance match and so forth on the inputs and the outputs. I did play around with some trimmers on the outputs, and I found that if I added another trimmer or more capacitance on the output, it just loaded it down and it didn't like it. So it was more happy with just one trimmer on the output and so forth. If I just show some other images of this amplifier while I'm talking about it. Here's another close-up image of the amplifier. Excuse my soldering. The unit tends to love to suck the heat out of your soldering iron, so it's not my best effort. But and I hadn't really cleaned it up. It was more just a case of just will this even work to start with. Now I did find that in tuning up so you can notice here that I only had 2 trimmer capacitors in the input. That's what I sort of settled on. That seemed to sort of work. There's one capacitor on the other side of it just to get a little bit of extra loading. Now I tuned this up, and once I tuned it up and got it all tuned, the thing just took off and put an 80 watt output, which is significantly more than what the Lucent does happily. But yeah, these transistors seem to really go for it and really work well. I did find too the one thing you should be aware of is these transistors, the actual thickness of the metal base on the transistor is much thinner than what the original transistor is. So you do have to put a spacer in. So I put a metal spacer. I put heat sink compound on both sides of the metal spacer below the transistor, and cut it to size so it fits underneath the transistor. And then I clamped it down under pressure and then soldered it so the solder effectively that locks it in under somewhat of pressure. Probably not ideal, but there is not enough room to actually retap screw holes and so forth. So unfortunately, you don't really have a lot of choice, but it seemed to work. I left it running at about 75 watts or something like that for a little while just to see how the heat dissipation would go on it. And it seemed to go fairly well. The transistor, I had a thermal temperature sensor, one of the spot ones with a laser on it, just to monitor the temperature, and it seemed to work quite well. So no complaints. Now my one complaint that I do have with this circuit's not finalised yet. Alan, who originally modified the amplifiers, has kindly offered to take it and tweak it and play around with it and see if we can get it really nutted out. But it does like this, in its current form, it does like to self-oscillate and take off. So I could detune it a little bit to make it more stable, but it's just not perfect. So unfortunately my work's got really busy at the moment, so I've sort of been put aside. But after this presentation, I will contact Alan and pass it on to him and see what he will give it to him so he can have a bit of a play with it. So see if he can really tune it down and get it really on tap. So I'll just show a couple more images and then I'll call it for the night, and I'm sure everyone wants to go to bed. That's just another image from another angle, and thank you for the gentleman that provided the hardline or semi-rigid at the ATV meetup, because that came in handy. I cut a bit off and then I just soldered it to the shielded plate. So and last image, and call it a night. Been running on a while. Sorry, it's just a bit clunky. I'm gonna have to change the license on this vMix. I wasn't aware it's going to do that to me.